You got to think of your time as the objects that you bring in your hands when you're walking in from the car, right? So you load up all this stuff. You're like, okay, I can hold my water bottle. I can hold my backpack over my shoulder, this jacket, pair of shoes, the little claw, as you're holding everything like this. And I still got this arm, so I'm gonna put 3 bags on here and hold a jar that's open and, carry my Chipotle in as well. And I'm walking in. Okay, I got all these things, right? Well, I gotta close the car door. So I get my ankle and I, close it. And then I'm walking inside and I'm like, well, I have all these things in my hands. I can carry all of it, but how am I gonna open the door? So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta lean over to put it down. And as I'm leaning over, the jar spills everywhere and Chipotle falls on the ground. It's everywhere. And oh no, backpack falls, water bottles out, metal everywhere. Like you can't hold all of these things at once and continue to live under the expectation that things won't go wrong, right? Eventually, adding too many things onto your plate will collapse, right? You will not be able to hold on to all of it because things shift as you're walking inside. It's going to shift and you're going to have to keep trying to hold on to it. It's not going to stay the same. When you get there, you're going to be confronted with obstacles that you didn't think about, situations that require you to have freed up hands and you've tied yourself down. And so they don't allow you to move forward, right? You've got to, it's contradictory. I can hold all this stuff if I don't have to open up the door. But my path to go inside, the reason why I'm making this whole trip is because I'm going through that front door to go inside. So it's contradictory, right? Okay, so then treat your time like the objects that you bring in from the car. You probably don't have the ability to carry all these things and continue to live as you usually do, right? Which is okay. Maybe you have to make some changes to not live as you usually do. But you get the point. Eventually, adding too many things on prevents you from being able to live at all. Maybe that's what it is. The pressure is just too much for you to be able to even get the job done in the first place. This is why you have to focus on one task. Why is it so important to do one thing at a time? Because you can't split your focus too many times or else, nothing gets done, And you gotta focus in on one thing. What is one thing I need to get done? And move to the next, right? Now, you don't want to take 15 trips in from the car, so of course you want to try to take as many things as you can handle all at one time. But who knows? You might not know what your limit is right now, so then you got to start small and slowly add things on, right? There's this quote I heard a while back. When you add something on to your schedule or you say that you can do something, you commit to something like a date in the future for a wedding or whatever it is, going to a friend's wedding, that type of thing. You're adding that thing in relation to everything else that you're doing. So it's not just that you're adding that thing into relation to what you're doing, but it's like this and how it interacts with every single thing that I'm doing. And then I add something else in and it's like, well, now that interacts with this thing that I just added plus every single thing else that I'm doing. And then you add a couple more things and eventually it gets so complex that the system has to collapse, right? You can only maintain so much complexity, which is okay. There's a limit to how much you can do, but you can do those things very well, right? So you don't have to stop at basically instead of aiming to add 1,000 things to your plate, you should aim to add 10 things that you'll make the most impact with your time with those things. My verbiage is not the best. I got to get better at that, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing these videos. But you get the point, right? Okay, so then how can you learn how to carry all these objects in and still go through the door in one trip eventually? Well, one of the things you could do is just plan better. I know that I'm going to go in through that door, and I can close this door with my ankle. I can close that door when I get in with my ankle as well, or my foot. So then, as long as I open that door, leave it cracked a little bit, then I can walk, I can open this door, load everything up, close it, walk through the door and close that one when I get there. And so I'll be able to hold all these things because I've planned for the obstacle that's going to come down the way, right? Okay, so then what else could you do? Well, you could be better prepared. It's not only you're planning, but you're prepared. So what does that mean? Like if you have a backpack inside, you know that you have a lot of these little items, or just, like a grocery bag or whatever it is. Like you go grab that as you're opening up the door, and then you walk back outside, load all the items up into the backpack or the bag. So you have your backpack on, and then on the other shoulder, you put this backpack. And then now all you got to carry is that jar or whatever it is, right? And let's not get lost in the metaphor here. You're trying to package time so that, you can do multiple things at once. I'm going to go to the grocery store on the way back from my run, right? And that's going to save time. And then whatever else there is, maybe it's going on like a vacation during this wedding venture, right? So that you get to package two things together. It doesn't matter what it is, but basically, like, you want to make sure that time doesn't slip out of hand and that you're not trying to balance too many things at once. And that's basically it, right? You're not limited to how well you can do something, but you are limited to how many things you could do. So you might as well take on the fewest things that you could do at the best of your ability, right? Because you only want to do your best. So then, because life is short and, there's not much time. If you can do your best on a few things and they last the test of time past your life, they're the legacy items, writing a book, for example, then it's worth spending time doing that instead of teaching a class that would move people. Well, teaching class is not a good one. You know what I mean, right? Whatever the other items that I can't think of right now. The verbiage was a lot better there. We're improving. I am very bad at procrastination. In this stage of life, I'm trying to get better at that. I've sat here for 2 hours scrolling on TikTok, and I haven't done that in such a long time. There's another quote that I heard recently that when an old habit creeps back in, it's just on the verge of dying. And so when it's just about to die, that's when it tries to take hold, tries to latch on. It's been so long since I've wasted time on TikTok. Now, what are the conditions that caused me to do this? Well, I was procrastinating pouring the epoxy on some tables that I have in the garage, right? Okay, so then I walk inside, I eat dinner, I shower, all these different things. Just avoiding that because I know I have to go do that eventually, right? I'm sitting here, I'm not really thinking about it. Time flies by, time slips out of hand. And, now I'm like, holy cow, it's 12 o'clock at night and I got to go pour epoxy. So I got another 30, 45 minutes of work to go do because I've let time slip out of my hands, right? So I'm trying to get better at that, and I'll use this as a reminder that I'm in control of my time if I take the time to be in control. If I put in the effort to be in control, then I can decide what I get to do with my time. And the ultimate limit of that is waking up every day to work on some type of project that they care about very much, right? That's the only thing that you focus on. Elon probably wakes up and focuses fully on one thing, SpaceX, right? Tesla, maybe, but that's really just the moneymaker. I think that he's focusing most of his effort on SpaceX and maybe Neuralink, right? Who knows? I don't really know. But anyways, starting to ramble, so I should probably end the video here. Walk away with this. If you organize your time, then you can expect to carry a lot of items. But if you haven't taken the necessary effort, put in the time that is required of you to maximize your schedule, then you can't expect great results, right? Expect only to achieve the results of the time that you've put in to this thing. And so if that is true, then the more time that you put into it, the better results you can expect to achieve. So planning out your schedule this next week, put a little bit more time in it. And then eventually you'll find that this will allow you to do the things that you've wanted to do and put off for such a long time. Yeah, why not us?